We have cases where adult children access their parents' bank accounts to use the money for their own purposes. They don't necessarily use it for the purposes of the parent, and the parent might give them access through giving them an ATM card because they can't get to the bank, so it's easier for them to do it for them. They may be in trouble because of business circumstances have changed with the recession, so they need help and they can't get help from anyone else, so they just assume the older parent will do that for them, and they manipulate them into making decisions that are not necessarily in their best interest. There can be really small issues, like a few dollars taken here and there from an ATM card, to manipulating somebody into selling a property or guaranteeing a big loan and putting this older person at financial risk. And it means that they then don't have the finances they need to meet their own needs.
Wendy Bremner says that often the abuser is the son or daughter of the victim, sometimes their spouse, and they are often the only person to have regular contact with the victim.
Older people are especially vulnerable if they are isolated and the person that's abusing them is their only social contact with the outside world.
Brenda Strathern and Newkini Hendricks are social workers with Age Concern investigating abuse referrals, and they see firsthand how hurtful the effects can be for the elderly victims. They say financial abuse is something that could happen in any family, regardless of race or economic status.
It comes across all races, nationalities, classes, culture. There's no divide in terms of who it affects.
The kinds of families that we're seeing tending to have perhaps more money than usually, than the ones that we usually deal with. So quite large sums are being contested by family members, as opposed to someone perhaps who is utilising their parents' or their grandparents' superannuation to subsidise their food bill or rent or electricity.
And like any other abuse, it also has a huge impact on the victim's family.
Sometimes a sibling will refer a client to us because they're concerned about how another sibling is treating them. So you've got this conflict going on there, and then you've got the conflict going on between the parent and the other sibling. And sometimes there's alcohol and drugs involved.
Brenda Strathern says that sometimes the family thinks they have a right to help themselves to money or possessions which belong to their elderly relative.
It often isn't conceptualised as theft, either by the older person or by the family member.
And in some cases, elderly people don't lodge a complaint about their situation because they're worried that their family might split apart under the stress.
Older people don't like to get their children in for trouble. And if more often than not it's an adult child that is abusing them, they'd rather live how they're living than cause a complete separation in family.
So it may be up to someone else to raise the issue. Newkini Hendricks urged anyone who felt their family member or friend was being exploited to voice their concerns.
Definitely speak up for the older person. Talk to someone, whether it be your neighbour or a trusted friend. Speak to us here at Age Concern. That's our role as social workers.
We look at what alternatives are available to them. Some of them they may not have known anything about. And when they know possible courses of actions, we decide which they would prefer to take and develop a plan which they are very much part of. We don't act alone, we act only with their consent to do as they wish.
Do I look like a film star?
Sometimes they just want a discussion, to just have an open discussion. Sometimes they would like us to be a support person with them when they discuss their concerns with the family. Sometimes they want us to challenge family members as well, some of the abuse that's going on.
While Age Concern and other agencies work hard to ensure that the elderly receive all the support they need, what's ultimately needed is a change in attitude.
To prevent abuse, we have to educate people that it's not acceptable to treat older people differently than you would treat another adult. they're entitled to the same dignity. They're entitled to be treated with respect and not be threatened, and to be taken seriously.